Hey guys, welcome back. In the last episode on the BMW, we found out that we had low compression. We had like 0 compression on 1, 160 on 2, 185 on 3, 075 on 4. I'll put the numbers up here again just to refresh our memories. On this episode, we're gonna pull the motor out. We're gonna try to do it, in an easy way. We're going to pull the bumper and the front clip off and all of the radiators up front. If you're following along at home, I will give updates on what we're taking off. If you're looking for the easiest way, when I say easiest, I mean less hassle. It might take longer, but less hassle. From what I've seen, definitely front bumper, front crash bar, radiators on the front, take it all off, and you're gonna have the most room to work, and it's gonna be easiest to pull everything out. All right, quick PSA. If you have, first, BMWs have a bolt instead of a stud and a nut to hold on wheels. So when you take all of them off and you can't get the wheel off, put one bolt back in, not all the way. That way, when I smack the tire with a mallet and it unstucks itself, it doesn't just fly off. It'll catch on the stud here, or on the bolt. Now I need a mallet. Here we go. Now you know. Oh, that one wasn't stuck. All right, I realize I really haven't given you guys a tour of the shop. Right now we have this open spot on the right over here. So this is gonna be parts bay. Everything we take off will end up here. Let's keep going. Wait till you guys see under this car. I'm gonna keep taking off skid plates before I show you though. This thing is so caked in oil that it's like literally flimsy here. Like if we go to the clean side, it's pretty rigid. More broken plastic. Fog lights. One's broken. Okay. Bumper. Foam bumper. Crash bar. Other bumper. Things, cross brace things. One fan shroud. It's going well. More ducting. Woo-hoo! More plastic. I almost forgot. I'm going to take out the battery just to make sure we don't have any electrical problems or shorts. I've had this battery out before, so all this stuff is already loose. FYI, with the BMW trunks, if you don't have your battery connected, you have to crawl in through the back seat to open it. So I'm just gonna leave it open. Fans out. Whoop, whoop. We're getting there. Figured I'd give you guys an update on the parts pile. So far, a lot of plastic. And an update on what the engine bay looks like. You can see pretty clearly our many coolers, AC, power steering, radiator, and we do have another one underneath. I'm not sure what they all are, but we'll find out. AC condensers out. top one was an oil cooler. Apparently this thing has two radiators, one in the middle, one on the side. We are back. It is the next day. I have new clothes on and fresh hands. A lot of comments on the last video telling me to wear gloves. You're absolutely right, I should be, but I hate gloves. So for now, we're rocking no gloves. Quick update on where we are. So most of the front end's torn apart. We still have radiator, power steering cooler, and intercooler. Once that's off, I think we'll have plenty of access to wiring, motor mounts, anything else that we gotta take off to get the motor out. I haven't decided if I'm leaving the transmission in or bringing it out with me. Really, I'm gonna do whatever's easiest. So after the front end here, I will be going underneath to do the skid plate and the axles and whatever else needs to come out along the way. So back to it. I just said I was not gonna wear gloves. This car is caked in oil. So I'm gonna go get gloves. All right, I don't have latex gloves, but I have this. So listen, I don't want any I told you so's about not wearing gloves. It's just because this motor's caked in oil and everything I touch is also caked in oil. So I'm gonna try it. For you, just for you. Radiator, this thing, there's probably an easier way, but it was awful. Awful to take out. All right, this one, I had to do a little Google search on how to get this off. I thought it was thought it would use like a fuel quick disconnect tool, but it's actually just built into it. I'll show you guys, I'll show you that on the video, or I'll show you the hose later. This thing, got it out. Plastic, more plastic. Intercooler's out. That is the last one. We can get a clear view of the engine. Let's go take a look. Okay, those of you that own an N55, you'll know that there's a couple common oil leaks. One of them being the oil filter housing / cooler here. And you can tell that that did a number on the front here. I mean, this is like, now excuse me, no gloves on here. Look at that. That is something else. A couple tips and tricks while we're here. One, intercooler pipe. The intercooler, the charge piping, intercooler piping, whatever you want to call it. So this clip latches in like 3-5 spots maybe. You can see it clips there, there, and on this back piece. When you take this clip out, you have to push the charge pipe and intercooler together for the clip to come out. I fought with that for a while, so that's tip number one. When you're doing these power steering lines, you're gonna have this white clip on the front here, and then when you take that off, you're gonna push the power steering line in, press on this quick release until it clicks, and then you can just slide it right off. So that is the tip and trick with the power steering line. You don't need any special tool. And that was my tip / trick for the intercooler piping. You just need a plier, you don't need a special tool for that. So just push it together, pull the clip out, and then similar process with the power steering line. Take the white clip off the front, push together, push in that quick release, and then it'll come right off. So yeah, that is the front clip taken off. I mean, everything is caked, dude. Oil everywhere. That's not even oil, that's just It's awful. Wowzers. From here, I don't really have too much of a plan of attack. I think I'm going to leave as much on as I can. So really, if I can get the transmission bell housing bolts, or if that's a pain, and I just do motor mounts, transmission mount, drive shaft, front axles. Well, it was obviously a mistake cleaning the ground. I'll try to film under the car a little bit just to show you how ugly it is under there. I don't really have a wide enough angle lens. This car is a mess. All right, I told you I'd try to get you a peek at underneath the car. It looks a lot like the front of the car. So here's the transmission. You can see it's got a nice little coating on it. Moving over to the oil pan. That also has a nice little coating on it. Bell housing, dirty. Everything is dirty. All right, let me show you what I did here. So we take the lower control arm out from its home. We take the lower strut bolt out, and that lets us take the axle out from under the strut here. And then you just get a pry bar and pry it out. Right, axle number 1 out. I use a pretty big pry bar to get these out because it's a pain in the ass with a small one. Axle 1 out, just gotta do the other side. It's the same exact thing. All right, on the passenger side, we have this long shaft. So taking it out is a little harder. All I had to do differently was take the top 3 bolts of the strut off. So I had some more wiggle room to maneuver this. So both axles are out. So I was crawling around underneath the car and I've decided that the transmission is gonna come out with the engine. It seems pretty awful to get to the bell housing bolts, so I'm not gonna deal with it. That being said, the exhaust is gonna come off next. There's a couple pieces of heat shielding underneath the car I'm gonna take off. The rear drive shaft is going to come off. It'll stay in the car, just resting on some heat shield. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the butt. Wiring. I believe most of the wiring stays on the engine, and there's like 3 plugs on the driver's side that just unclip and fold over. I'm gonna miss something. There's definitely something I'm missing, but that's where I'm starting. Unfortunately, without us having a lift, if I get a lift, you guys will be able to see under the car better. And I want that for both of us, honestly. Not being able to really show you the underneath the cars is disappointing. Obviously, I could get like a cheaper version like Quick Jacks, but I had this shop built at 16 feet, so I can fit any lift I want. That being said, I'm gonna get under the car and you're gonna just watch me toss some parts out from underneath.
I don't even know how long it's been. I was fighting the exhaust for a long time. That shit was rusty.
The exhaust killed way more time than I thought it was going to take. I live in the Midwest of the USA and we get a lot of rusty cars here. So I should have known better that the exhaust was gonna be easy. Nothing is on these rusty cars. That being said, I am tired. We will pick this back up tomorrow, which is right now. All right, quick update on where we are. So it is day 3. I'm in a set of new clothes again. Overnight, I Googled one question and I was looking up the preferred lift points on the motor. Turns out they have their own jack points. The front of the engine has a spot where you put in the tow hook, and the back of the engine, you take off the starter and use a hole right above the starter to lift the engine. So to do that, we have to take off the intake and take off the starter. So we're gonna do that next. Oh, me taking off the front clip here was so nice. Being able to, look, I'm standing above the motor. This is fantastic. All right, 7 bolts holding the intake on. Before those 7 bolts, we gotta get the wires out of the way here. Another piece of charge pipe that connected to the throttle body. Let's get this out of the way. Whoops. Another vacuum line here. There we go. Okay, here's one more wire. This is the throttle body wire on the bottom. And we have our intake manifold. All right, starter's next. Battery's already disconnected, so I don't gotta worry about shorting anything here. So I'm gonna disconnect the power wire, and then we have 2 bolts, and then I'll show you guys what we're looking at here. Oh, they are joined together. Okay, I gotta take the alternator wire off as well. I thought they would be separate wires, but they're just joined together. So that's gotta come off. And I can't take that power wire off unless I take the alternator off. There we go. Took me a while, but I found a good spot. All right. 1 serpentine belt. Okay, it was. Okay. So what I needed to get to this whole time was this. All right, well, alternator's off. We're gonna put this oil cooler back in place, so I know, don't gotta worry about it leaking. All right, just snug. Okay, all that to get the alternator wire off, because it's connected to the starter wire, and I needed the starter wire off. Now we're still connected. The only thing this loom is still connected to is the transmission. So as I'm pulling it out, I'll get the last of that wiring out. Oh, there we go. All right, I got both of them. Got the starter out. Okay, it is actually the end of day 3 here. I am missing a tool. Totally my fault. I should have looked into this before. But the tow hook that comes on the 5 Series is not the same tow hook that comes on the 3 Series. And I need the 3 Series tow hook to pull the engine. Let me show you the hole I'm talking about here quick. Okay, so this hole right there is the lift point on the front of the motor. And where we took the starter out, the hole right there in the middle of the screen at the top left of where the starter would be is the rear lift point. So the rear one, you just put like a bolt through and use that. This front one, you are supposed to use. The tow hook on the 5 Series is not the same tow hook as the 3 Series, and they decided to make the 3 Series tow hook the one to use to pull the motor. I am completely ready to pull it. Everything except for the motor mount, transmission mount are loose. I've double, triple, quadruple checked. That being said, I'm sure there could be something hidden that I can't see until I start moving stuff. But from what I can see, I'm ready to pull it. I just need the tow hook. So I'm going to either order one or find one at a junkyard. Either way, it could be tomorrow that I pull it, or it could be a week. Depends on when I get a tow hook. So for now, I guess I'll go start editing this video. All right guys, we're back on day 4. I had to stop last time because I did not have the right tow hook for the front engine point lifting location. The one that comes on the 5 Series is bigger than the one that comes on the 3 Series, so I got that. So I believe I'm 95% ready to pull this motor. I think we get the engine hoist hooked up, and then it should just be motor mounts and tranny mount, and we should come right out. I don't see anything else that's attached. I'm sure along the way while I'm pulling it out there might be a few things. So let's get this engine out. It's been a long time coming. Engine's off the motor mounts. I gotta take off this side so I have some wiggle room. I won't be able to get it past the steering shaft with it on. Oh yeah. All right, that's one motor mount out. I think I mentioned this before, but one of the motor mounts decided, or one of the motor mount bolts decided to snap rather than come out. All right, transmission cooler lines, transmission mount, and out she comes. And then I got to remember that these wires are on top of the transmission once I get it farther out. All right, out comes the motor, I think. Yep. Okay, I ended up having to take the cat off. It was getting stuck on some heat shielding and a cross member. Should be smooth sailing from here. Okay, ground on the back of the motor I gotta take off. Found a power steering hose. I'm just gonna take the overflow off with it. Okay. We are out. We did it. I'm sweating. Hard work. We're not gonna get it on the engine stand in this video.
I'm gonna put the engine mount back on and just use wood blocks to hold on all of the mounting locations. So 2 wood blocks for the engine for both the mounts, and then maybe 2 wood blocks in the back, 1 on the mount for the transfer case, and then 1 underneath the transmission. All right, we're off. We did it! 4 days, total of, I have about 9 hours of film. 9 hours of film, there's a lot of dead time. So I'm sure it can be done in a lot faster than 9 hours. I'm not setting any world records here. Hell, I probably didn't even do it, you know, right. The engine's out, I didn't break anything. That's right in my book, but it's gonna sit here for a while. I'm gonna get this video out to you guys, and then next video, get it on the engine stand, tear it apart, and actually find out what's wrong with it. On that note, this video, I want to do a poll. I've had a couple comments of people saying that they think it's timing. That's actually the only 2 guesses I've had in the comments so far. So I'm gonna put a poll out there with some options. I want your guys' guess or your opinion on what you think's wrong with it. On that note, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe to follow along with the progress. I'm always trying to improve, so if you have any advice for me as a mechanic, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.